Tonight we have live team coverage. Our reporters surveying the damage across our viewing area, and my co-anchor Jim Grimes is anchoring from the field tonight in one of the communities most impacted. He joins us now from Port Salerno, where the community is coming together in the cleanup process. Jim?
Yeah, Liz, good evening. Tonight it is just a sad scene across this Port Salerno area. So many of these homes have been impacted, and the residents here still trying to pull together. Where I'm coming to you from right now live looks more like a block party behind me. This was all just kind of thrown together by some locals in the community. They put together this block party. I mean, they've got tents, and underneath those tents are supplies. They are serving people food. There's some food trucks. And I talked about the businesses helping out. The Cheney brothers, they pulled in one of their barbecue trucks, and another nonprofit came in here and is supplying all of the food. They're barbecuing here. And throughout the day, we've seen a lot of the residents who've been impacted by this storm, along with some of the workers who are helping to make the quick repairs, putting the tarps on the roof. And local law enforcement and firefighters, they're all out here just kind of hanging out. And it's been kind of a cheerful mood, kind of a break for a lot of these people here. But here's the reality. I just got this information from Martin County, and it is not good. They said they had damage widespread. There were some 3 tornadoes that touched down in this county. New Monrovia, that's where we are, that suffered damage. Mariner Sands, the Preserve, Mariner Village, Rocky Point, Manatee Creek, Doubletree at Lost Lake, Country Club Cove, Alicia Street, and Citrus Boulevard, along with Degler Court, all of them had some type of damage. 400 people had to be put up in shelters along with 11 pets. Those shelters, by the way, are closed right now. 53,000 people were without power. Still some 10,000 of them remain in the dark tonight. And we're told that at least 600 homes had varying degree of damage, some of it catastrophic. One of those residents we got a chance to catch up to a little bit earlier in the day. We talked to him. He lost pretty much everything, and he says that the community rallying around him has been a godsend. Take a look.
Neighbor, come on, come here. There you guys go.
All of this?
Yeah, all of it.
These are not strangers handing out food and water. These are volunteers from nearby communities. It's a small gesture. But for Devin Gore, who's lost everything, this kind of help goes a long way.
That's one thing about this town of Port Salerno. Everybody pretty much sticks together, and we're close. We're a tight unit, so I'm just thankful that everybody's helping out.
A few blocks away, a team of volunteers with Christ Fellowship Church. They're not just delivering supplies, but helping people to shore up their homes and belongings.
Well, we've never seen anything like this, so we're going by the moment. So we know what we can do today. We're out here doing it, and we can bet in the coming months, whatever we can do, we will.
We're kind of burnt out. I was sitting in my truck crying, blessing and thanking everybody for coming out, supporting the community, because we are a community. Martin County is a community.
Yeah, an emotional resident out there. I got to tell you, I mean, a lot of people are emotional. You're looking live now at what's going on behind me. You know, people have been coming out here and sharing their stories with us throughout the afternoon, and it's heartwarming to see the community support and helping these other people. When we talk about what's happening here in Martin County, it is somewhat isolated up here, but if you go down to Palm Beach County, of course, we know there's damage there as well. And that's where our Victoria DeCardenas is standing by over in the acreage to tell us more about the damage she's seeing. Victoria.
Yeah, hey there, Jim. As you know, in the acreage, sometimes your neighbors are a little further apart. You might need to get in your car to get to their front door. But ironically, this storm has brought everybody closer. People are calling in to check on their neighbors and lend a helping hand, especially after a tornado tore through this area. Driving along in the acreage, you'll see these piles of debris along the streets. One of those piles belongs to Martha Chanel on Citrus Grove Boulevard. You couldn't tell by looking at it, but all of this sat in her backyard, full of exotic and unique plants like the rainbow eucalyptus.
I heard like a loud noise, and then I felt pressure in the house.
Martha says she was listening to the radio when she heard meteorologists tracking a tornado street by street. She grabbed her dog and took shelter in the bathroom.
And I looked at the picture window. There was this white sheet of, I guess, water, like it looked like a milkshake. And and then in a few seconds it was over.
The tornado spared her house, but her neighbors still showed up for her, even though she didn't know. She calls them her angels. A friend of Martha's sent their son to help clean up. Another sent their husband.
They just showed up. One of them has a pool service, and he cleaned my pool out of all the debris yesterday. And his wife brought me lunch, and today the ministry brought lunch.
And it's possible that same tornado tore through Esteban Gomez's house down the road on Avocado Boulevard. It was captured on home security video.
That tree right there, yeah, it was laying right on top, and also because that tree was a lot taller, so it was all there in that area. It was on top of the roof as well.
The tornado knocked pine trees onto his home and his car, picked up and flipped his friend's camper on its side, along with this shipping container filled with Esteban's belongings. Neighbors posted pictures of the debris on social media and called on people to help Esteban. By the time our crews arrived, trees were cut and debris was hauled off. Every neighborhood that I go to, it's neighbors helping neighbors.
Absolutely. And that's, to me, that's what it's all about. You know, like I told you, I grew up in a small town. It was always like that. Things have changed a little bit, but now with this happening, maybe it hasn't changed as much as I thought.
And this storm reminding people of the power of humanity. Now, residents in the acreage have been working nonstop. This is the first time all day that the sun has come out. So even though it was raining and it was dreary, they were out here picking up some of that debris. And like Jim, you found out today, many of these people are helping each other out free of charge, giving people one less thing to worry about as they clean up from the storm. Back to you, Jim.
Thanks, Victoria. So many people wanting to help in some way. We had somebody come up here earlier. She wanted to make a financial donation, just drove up, and some other people who had supplies. The reality is the best way to go about doing that, if you really want to help people out here, you can donate through one of the organizations like the Red Cross, or you can go to CBS 12. We have a webpage right now and a QR code on your screen right now. If you scan that, it'll take you to our fundraiser. Sinclair Cares is Sinclair, our parent company, is teamed up with the Salvation Army, and all of the money, I can tell you, is going to help the local community. Milton is going to help the victims of Helene and to get them over this. So we're going to hear much more from them coming up a little bit later. But again, if you want to scan that QR code, it'll take you directly to the website. All right, so we're talking about the damage over in Palm Beach County. Just a little further west, over in Okeechobee County, there's a subdivision there that is just a mess. CBS 12's Katie Benny is joining us from there. And Katie, what are you seeing out there?
Right now, I am just off 98, a few miles north of town. And tonight, emergency officials tell me that a couple is lucky to be alive. They were actually hunkering down here in their mobile home for Hurricane Milton. And you could see this is what's left of their home. Now, it looks like a debris field out here, but actually their home was over there past these two sheds, and it was torn up by one of the tornadoes, thrown roughly 150 feet. And I want to bring you back to the debris over here because officials say that when they got here on scene, they were trying to locate this couple. It is incredibly scary. The wife was found under a washing machine, and they were looking for the husband, could not find him. When they eventually found him, he was another 20 feet away from her. They were sent to the hospital with injuries, but I mean, looking at this destruction tonight, they're just lucky to be alive, to have survived this storm. I really want to give you a good look at this because it is so crazy to see firsthand here. But again, they're just sent to the hospital with injuries. You know, we're told they will make it through. It really is just scary to see how much damage these tornadoes can do. But for now, I'm going to send it back to you, Liz, in the studio. Reporting live in Okeechobee, I'm Katie Benty, CBS 12 News.
As you can see, tornadoes devastated our viewing area, including the Treasure Coast, where several people were killed in the Spanish Lakes community near Fort Pierce. The destruction stretched throughout St. Lucie County. Treasure Coast reporter Dylan Huberman spoke with families and a business owner hit hard by the storm. Dylan?
Liz, complete and utter devastation. That's the only way I can describe what I see here in northern St. Lucie County. Al's family farms here eviscerated by a tornado that also ripped down power lines and trees. And just to give you an idea of the magnitude, take a look at these trees here. It ripped through neighborhoods up Kings Highway, farther up that way where Spanish Lakes is as well. Utter devastation in St. Lucie County.
I know it's hard to put this into words, but what is the best way that you could describe what happened here?
Terrifying. I've never been more terrified in my life.
Jennifer Thomas and her family hid in their laundry room when the tornado went through.
All the kids were here, I was here, my husband was here, we had a dog, and the dogs were over here. And the cats hid behind the couch.
She lives in the Holiday Pines community, ripped to shreds across the street from Spanish Lakes, where at least 5 people were killed.
The people in Spanish Lakes, I couldn't even imagine. I feel we have not one scratch on us. So can't get more lucky than that.
Her backyard was torn up, but everyone in her family was okay. The same goes for Zippy Sandler. Her house and yard damaged, glass all over the inside of her home, inches from destruction.
Could have been. Look down the street. One of our neighbors completely lost their home. You could hear the rumble, the roar as it came through, and the entire house shook. The whole house was shaking, and then I heard the glass go, and that was that.
South on Kings Highway, Al's family farms, a community staple for generations, ripped to pieces.
Virtually supernatural. This is probably the strongest tornado to hit the state of Florida. I'm no scientist, but I've never seen anything in all my years, and I've been living here almost all my life. That thing stood the test of 50 hurricanes, and look what happened to it.
But this reeling community is going to recover together.
I am so thankful that our community came together the way it did. Our neighbors are amazing. The people coming through, bringing supplies, bringing food, making sure everybody is okay has been awesome.
As for whether Al's will rebuild, owner Jeff Shorner says that will be up to his son, the next generation in this family. In St. Lucie County, Dylan Huberman, CBS 12 News.
Turning now to weather, Michael, much of our area is trying to recover from this storm, and it would help if it might stop raining.
Yeah, I know, Liz. There are some showers out there today. And just to recap, on Wednesday, we got some more information. We know there's been at least 126 tornado warnings issued for Florida. This is a record for the state and the second highest for any state. And there's been 38 or more reported tornadoes officially. The Weather Service is going to have to do damage assessments. It's going to take weeks to kind of figure out exactly how many tornadoes there were and where they occurred. And even if you didn't get a tornado, man, those winds were howling. In Vero Beach, a hurricane-force wind gusts of 84 back on Wednesday night. Vero City at 72, Jensen Beach at 63, and the St. Lucie Nuclear Power Plant at gusts of 59. In Palm Beach County, we even had a reported gust of hurricane force at the North Palm Airport. 72 there at Palm Beach International, with gusts in the 50s and 60s throughout the area. Fortunately, the rain we had earlier today is pretty much dried up. There are some showers from Lake Okeechobee on west. And as we go through your Friday evening and Friday night, low rain chances 20%. You could get a brief sprinkle. We'll be dropping from the low 80s now only into the upper 70s at the coast, with probably some low to mid 70s for those of you further inland. Coming up in minutes, your weekend forecast, timing out changes for next week, and a tropical update.
And these are photos of damage shared with us by viewers. If you have any footage you'd like to share from Hurricane Milton, just scan the QR code on your screen and chime in. We'll be right back.
Welcome back, everyone. I'm Jim Grimes, joining you live from Port Salerno in one of the hardest hit areas. So many of you have been asking how you can help. Well, CBS 12 News is now partnering with the Salvation Army. It's part of our Helene and Milton campaign to help the victims of both of these horrible storms. We got a chance earlier today to talk to Major Deanne Jones. She's with the Salvation Army. They serve Okeechobee, Martin, and St. Lucie counties. I asked her, will the money be used to help the people here? Take a listen to what she had to say.
We are watching our disaster relief fund very closely because we've got some significant back-to-back storms. I absolutely have enough money to support the people's needs right now for both Helene and Milton, but we have a lot of recovery projects. We have over 100 disasters that are open across the country, and so I do not have enough to get me through the rest of the fiscal year. I'm trying to see if I have enough to get me through the CR, and so we're assessing how much we're drawing down each day in support of the people for Hurricane Helene and Milton, so I can make sure I'm asking for the appropriate amount to get me through the rest of the fiscal year.
In a situation like this, how important is it that a community like this is rallied? You've got private businesses, churches, all those people on the ground helping within just hours after this event. Sometimes people look to the federal government for all the help, but obviously it's a shared responsibility.
Well, we always talk about whole of community. I mean, FEMA is here, but we are just one part of the team, and it is the whole community that comes together. And what I get to see is the best in people. I get to see the human spirit come together, the resilience of each individual in all of these communities, neighbors helping neighbors, the nonprofits, the local community, the state, the federal, we all come in to help. It takes all of us, especially when we've seen some of the extent of the damage that we're seeing in these communities.
Yeah, I apologize about that. That is the FEMA administrator. We're going to hear more about that in just a minute. But as for the Salvation Army, I did get a chance to speak with them today, and they said that yes, the money will be used to help the people who've been impacted locally here by Milton. By the way, viewers have already helped to raise hundreds of thousands of dollars. And if that wasn't enough, our parent company Sinclair is going to be matching with an additional $50,000 to help the victims out here. Liz, we'll send it back to you.
All right, Jim, an incredible show of force by the community. Neighbors helping neighbors. I love it. Thanks. We'll talk to you later.